fall is here, but I still want to grow some greens, some like lettuce and chard and whatever. And I've been wanting to make a hydroponic grow table for quite a while now, and I just now getting around to doing that, and I figured I would show you how I'm going to do that. And it's going to be really simple the way I'm going to make this. And I have a light that I just got that I thought would be a great way to demonstrate the light, would be show it over it's going to be kind of a sort of deep water culture, but not real deep. I'll probably have an air bubbler in there, and I'll show you all that. But for now, I need to make the box that's going to hold the water. And then I actually, instead of making a stand for it, I have a glass coffee table that I'm going to actually reuse for the stand. I'll show you that soon. But let's get started. It's going to be 3 by 3, just a real simple table. And because it's going to be 3 by 3, you need to add 3 inches to make it 3 foot 3 inches for 2 pieces. Because each 2 by 4 is 1.5 inches thick. Couldn't find my speed square, so I'm going to use a paint stick and just kind of make it close enough. Just use my own judgment on what a 90-degree angle is. Also using a Sharpie, which works great when you're doing rough stuff like this. I'm not too concerned about how great the cuts are and everything. It's just got to be good enough. The actual water area is going to be 3 by 3. That's why I added 3 inches to the end of each of 2 of the boards. And now the other 2 will be exactly 3 feet. Got some 2.5 inch wood screws here. I prefer using screws to nails because it makes things a lot easier to take apart. So I'm going to take the boards that are 3 foot 3 inches. Get one screw started. Take one of my 3 foot boards. Screw it together. If you don't have an impact driver, I really suggest you get one. They are life-changing. The Ryobis are great. It's a good product. For an inexpensive product, it's a great product. This is all lumber that I've reclaimed from projects I've done around the house. always nice to have some different wood kicking around so you can make stuff with. There we go. That's the frame for our water table. Now I've got a piece of Texture 111, which was just a leftover scrap from when I was doing some work. And I do have a square for this one. And I'm gonna cut this edge. It got a little bit water damaged. It's not real straight anyways. Texture 111 has like shiplap edges, so it's like thin on the edge here and thin on this edge as well. So I want to get rid of that because I don't really want to be screwing into that really thin stuff. So I'm going to shave that edge right off, and then I'll cut this edge off at the 39 inches, and we'll have our bottom. Attach our base to the bottom of this box. For this part, I'm just going to use drywall screws. They're 1.25 inch coarse drywall, and I'll kind of square up the box as I go. Make sure one corner is good. Put a screw about every 8 inches or so. Have a box. That should work out pretty good. I would kind of like to paint this, but I'm going to run out of daylight here really soon, so it's not going to get painted. But you want to make sure there's no like real sharp edges. This board, the plywood that I'm using, it did have some nails to it at one time that left some puckered up spots, so before I lay the plastic in here, I'll make sure that it's really smooth and that there's no sharp edges, because I don't want to flood my grow room. So I'm gonna move inside and get my table set up. I'm gonna set this on top of it and we'll continue on. All right, here it is. It's in my grow room, as you can see. All my family pictures and stuff are in here from, they're really old pictures, but see my microgreens and stuff, my lemon tree, but all right, so over here in the corner is where we put it. It is sitting on top of a glass coffee table, so hopefully that glass holds up. I think it will. If not, it's not a table I care about, but so I stapled the two sides that I won't be able to get to after it's full of water, and I'm gonna fill it with water with the other two sides free so that the plastic can kind of just flow into where it needs to go. It's doubled up. Hopefully this holds. We will find out. Bunch of air in my hose here. It's like filling up a pool. All right, we now have a little pool here. There's about 2 inches of water in it. It's not perfectly level, but it will do. Show you with the tape measure. See, it's right at 2 inches right there. It's kind of deceiving, it's so clear. Got a little leaf floating around. Now I was gonna go about 3 inches of water, which would leave about a 1/2 inch of 2x4 showing on the sides. But with what I'm growing, I really don't think it's gonna use up all this water. And because it's so shallow, I don't want the net cups to be sunk right in the water. And once I get my, I'm gonna put a piece of foam board over the top of this whole thing with holes cut in it for my net cups. And so I think this is gonna be just about the right amount of water. So now we can do some simple math here. We've got 9 square feet because we've got 3x3. So that's 9 square feet. And what I want to do is convert this water into cubic feet so that I can do a calculation on how many gallons of water are in here. So we've got 2 inches. So it's going to take 6 of these to get 6 of our square feet will equal 1 cubic foot. And then we have 3 remaining cubic feet, kind of like gridding this off in my head. So we got, you know, like three rows of 3. So the first 2 is 1 cubic foot, 2 inches times 6. And then we have 3 more. And so we've got exactly 1.5 cubic feet of water. I'm gonna have to look that up on Google real quick to see what that converts to in gallons. And I'm gonna do that right now. I'll be right back. All right, I have asked the Google wizards and we have 11.2 gallons here. So I'm gonna treat it like 12 gallons, and I'm gonna use 12 scoops of my Maxi Grow, 12 teaspoons, I think it is. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's teaspoons. It comes with its own spoon in here, but so I'm gonna put 12 scoops of those in there, mix it up. I'm gonna go look real quick to see if I have my air bubbler and see if I can find some foam. I'm also going to fix all this plastic. I'll staple the rest of it around the edges and we'll get right back to this video. We now have our little bubbler just bubbling away. It's just like a cheap air pump with an air stone you would use for like a fish tank. Should be good enough to at least keep the water oxygenated. I can't say it, whatever. So we got that. And now I'm gonna take a gallon jug and I'm gonna put 12 teaspoons of the Maxi Grow in there. And I'm gonna run hot water into it to try to dilute it into 1 gallon and dump that into our flood table. now that I've got my concentrated nutrient solution, we'll just add that in to our table. It's definitely easier to dilute it into a gallon like this than it is to try to mix it up into this table by hand. So some of it still didn't dilute though. I should have probably waited a little bit longer, but it will eventually. So what do you know, I'm still rubbing my hand in there anyways, but most of it's diluted though. There we go. Still some in there, but it'll dilute over time. Now here is our next major challenge. I decided early on I wanted to do 9 plants on this 3x3 table. You could do a lot more, but I wanted to give them plenty of room. And I was able to find up back in my garage some styrofoam. So it's literally like styrofoam, like what your cups would be made out of. And I cut those 2 edges with a utility blade, and it didn't cut very well at all. It wanted to tear, it was a real pain. So now I need to figure out how I want to cut this to put my net cups in. These are my net cups I will be using, and I want those to just go in a hole and sit kind of flush. So how am I gonna cut those? I don't know yet. I have to think about that. It's getting pretty dark out, so you probably can't see too good, but what I have here is a hole saw, and it is working impressively good. I wasn't sure if it worked too good on this. I know you can cut like certain kinds of styrofoam pretty good, but this being like the volley type, I wasn't sure. But let's go ahead and show you how it does. That's all there is to it. It's that easy. So I'll cut the rest of these out. We'll bring this inside and we'll get our net cups all set up. We have our net cups all installed. They were a tight fit, but I was able to get them in there. I have to buy 4 more or find the rest of mine. But in either case, we'll plant 5 of them tonight anyways. You can see that the water's just touching, like I have to push down the foam a little bit, which is just about the right amount. So before we get on to planting those, let's move on to this light. All right, now we can talk about the light. So this is the light I got from Active Grow. Show you the label, best I can. It is a 6 light fixture, so it's got 6 bulbs. It's 3 foot wide, and it has both the full spectrum lights and the red bloom lights. I don't know that you need the red bloom lights for what I'm doing with lettuce, but I think if you were gonna grow something to flower, you could probably do all of it with this one light and not have to switch out bulbs. The red may also help with germinating, but the full spectrum looks like it has just as much red in it as the red bloom, so I don't know, you be the judge of that. I'm not somebody who really worries too much about all the different stats of the light. I basically try it. If it does what I want to do, I don't really care about all the numbers. It doesn't, aside from the wattage, the rest of it doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, if it grows your plants well, go with it. So I'm gonna open this up. I haven't even unboxed it yet. So very first thing you get is the bulbs. They come in their own box, so they're not broken or anything in the shipping process. Now these are only 14 watts for each bulb, which is pretty low. It's one of the reasons why LED is so great. Isn't it pretty? This is a pretty nice looking fixture. It is chainable, which is really a nice thing. And I'm going to just alternate the bulbs when I put them in. Let's do that now. this is a red bloom bulb. Here's a full spectrum light. I don't think it matters which way you put them in, but I've been putting them all in the same. Give it a quick power test and see if it blinds me or not. Probably will. Alright, time to turn on the switch. Alright, so it does matter which end you put where. So there's one end that has the electronics in it, and you can see like the capacitors and such in here. That has to go on one particular end. I am not sure if it says that anywhere. Let me look and see. Oh yes, if you actually paid attention, there's a label that tells you how they go. So I just kind of skipped that whole label. So we gotta turn them all around. All right, you ready? Let's try this again. None of the sunlight bulbs came on for the full spectrum bulbs. So apparently it's been getting kind of late. So after I switched them all over, I was only getting every other bulb to work, and I'm over here, I can't figure out why. I finally looked at the other side after switching bulbs all around, and there's two switches. So you can switch on just every other light, and the other switch, just every other light, or you can put them both on. Feel pretty stupid for not seeing that. Alright, so that works. The light works. It's pretty bright. Now I need to hang it up. I will probably use both lights, just why not? It's not going to hurt anything. So I think I have some of those yo-yo hanging things, and I'm going to see if I do and put those up in the ceiling and get this thing set up. Alright, we've got some good news times two. I had the yo-yos I needed, so I was able to find those, which work really nice. And I found exactly four more of my net pots. So I have enough net pots to plant everything now. So that's great. So what I'm going to do is I have these plants I'm going to be growing. So I've got some I think it's ruby red shard. These, I believe, are butter crunch lettuce. And then I have some cimarron lettuce. It's romaine lettuce. And so we're going to grow all these in that system. They're planted in rock wool. They've only been growing for about a week, maybe. But I think they're ready to go in. I don't think... Oh, there is a little root coming through, so they're definitely ready. So I'm going to take some of these clay pebbles. These are well used. I've used them a few times. And I'm going to just put a couple of those in the bottom of each cup. And what that will do is it will prevent the rock wool from sitting in the water and absorbing all the water. And then we will take a seedling. Yeah, this one's got a nice little root too. We'll place that in there. And then I'll take a few of the pebbles and just kind of spread those around. basically their only function at this point is to block out, you know, I'm gonna shut off the purple light for now. Is to block out any light from going down in there, or at least some of the light. So you don't really need these for any other reason. So I'm gonna go and get all these planted. Well, this has been a long video, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Some of you might remember that I actually got into microgreens because of my interest for hydroponics. So I've always wanted to make one of these little tables, and I'm finally doing it. I'll be making at least one follow-up video to this to show how things are going. I'll probably make at least 2 videos though, not just one. If you're interested in this LED light that I got from Active Grow, I'll have a link in the description where you can check that out for yourself. It's a high quality light, really nice. I love all their products. I think all my lights now are exclusively Active Grow LED lights. I just really like their product. So I have these all planted now, so let's take a look. And for the sake of the video, I have the red lights off, but I will be leaving those on later. You can see I've got them all planted. I planted them all kind of randomly. They're not in like any row or anything like that. But there they are. Teeny tiny little sprouts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check back soon.